Wallabies squad has been named by Coach Joe Schmidt for the Rugby Championship, folks. There is a rather lengthy injury list, but his first overseas-based player pick as well. We'll go through the squad, some of the kind of main ins and outs, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how this Wallabies squad is looking. First impressions is it's pretty young. I think it's the youngest of the squads, certainly in the forwards. Average age is only kind of 25 years old. The Box are kind of closer to 30. The All Blacks are about 27, so it's a certainly it's a young forward pack, and there are a number of uncapped guys in the loose forwards. Part of that is because you got Fraser McReight injured. That's a devastating one because he's been in cracking form at number 7. Liam Wright, who captained the first Joe Schmidt Wallaby side, also injured. Longy Gleeson is injured, so there's 3 loosies out there. And remember, Kurtley Beale, who was initially named in the July squads, got injured in the club game, so he didn't end up featuring in July anyway, but he's certainly another guy out. He would have brought the average age of the backs up a little bit, but yeah, 3 key injuries in the loose forwards, plus guys who weren't eligible through injury before the July tests even started. There's a few guys out as well, kind of dropped, who did feature in the July test, the likes of prop Alex Hodgman. He got his 1 cap for the Wallabies and is now not in the squad. Charlie Cale in the loose forwards, and then Darby Lancaster as well. But good news is you got Angus Bell back, one of, I think, the better loose head props in the game, man. His scrummaging's come a long way in the last, I don't know how long, 12, 18 months. He's had a bit of trouble with injury, but when he's fit, he's a cracking player. Work around the park has always been second to none, and the scrummaging is kind of getting there as well. And then 3 uncapped loose forwards with Luke Reimer, Carlo Tizzano, and Seru Uru. Seru Uru can also kind of cover lock if needs be. So can Tom Hooper if needs be as well. So there's a bit of flexibility. Nick Frost is one of the locks who can cover loose forwards. There's a few guys in that kind of lock loose forward mold, but 3 uncapped guys. Tizzano is a real tackling machine at 7, so I guess he's the kind of logical replacement for the likes of a Fraser McReight or potentially Liam Wright. He's a Western Force player as well. Joe Schmidt's really doing things differently with the amount of Western Force guys he picks. Not really seen that from previous guys at the helm of the Wallabies. I do like Udu. He's got a kind of unique skill set compared to some of the guys. Really good ball playing. Lock, loose forward, and then Reimer. One of that kind of Brumbies pack who's been really hard working all season. So good reward for him. The other guys like Valentini and Wilson and whatnot are still there. Jeremy Williams and Nick Frost and Tupou and Slipper and whatnot in the props. So the rest of it's pretty steady. She goes, no changes with the 3 hookers. But remember, none of those guys between Pollard, Nasser, and Fassler have even got double-digit caps just yet. So that's what I mean about the squad being kind of on the young and less experienced side. In the backs, there's the addition of Marika Koroibete. He is the overseas-based player playing his rugby in Japan. He's now 32 years old as Marika, but he still gets the call-up. There was some speculation that if Joe was going to go for an overseas-based guy or 2, he might go with Will Skelton in the second row. But no, he's preferred Marika for this one. And it's an interesting one because Australia does have a lot of good outside backs, especially these kind of young up-and-coming guys. But Marika is a really high work rate, just never stops running, and also very physically hard to stop winger. So maybe that's his kind of point of difference. And at 59 caps, he's certainly really experienced, especially when you consider some of the uncapped guys brought in. Corey Toole, back from the Olympics, the speedster, he is there as one of your potential wingers. Dylan Peach is still in the squad. He's had his 1 cap in the July period. Felipe Dalgunu is still in the squad. Remember, he's got 10 caps. So it's not like outside of Dalgunu, outside of Koroibete, there's not a heck of a lot of experience in the wing. So that's a potential reason to also bring back Marika. And then you got 19-year-old Max Jorgensen, who's had a bit of a horrendous run with injuries. Remember, he made the Wallabies squad for the World Cup, but didn't feature when he was still under an injury cloud. He's been called into the squad as well, and that's to go with the likes of Callaway and Tom Wright, who kind of retained their spots as well. So, yeah, no changes in the halves. Donaldson, Lolosio, Liner, Gordon, McDermott, White, these guys are all still there. The midfielders, Ikitau, Paisami, Stewart, and Fluke. It's all pretty steady as she goes. But, yeah, a couple of uncapped outside backs, 3 uncapped loose forwards, and a veteran in Marika Koroibete, plus Angus Bell. That's the kind of ins for this Wallabies squad. It's an interesting one with the draw because this might sound ridiculous given that the Joe Schmidt expectations, he's keeping them deliberately very low. But like if you were looking for a draw where you wanted to actually win the Rugby Championship, I think this is the draw. Because you get South Africa at home, you got a better chance of beating the world champs at home than you do away. Then you got the Pumas, who you can probably consider yourself a decent chance to beat away. And then home away against the All Blacks. As long as you win one of those, you'd be in a decent position to win the Rugby Championship. If you were looking for a draw which said, we don't want to finish bottom, then maybe you have away games in South Africa. Enjoy the experience. Those might be a write-off. You might pick up a game, but certainly a lot harder. Then you got 2 home games against the Pumas. Certainly not a guarantee. We've seen the Pumas win in Australia before, but you'd probably back the Aussies to win 2 out of those ones, especially when Kopitapomi is still getting to grips with the coaching of the Puma setup as well. So in a similar position to Joe Schmidt, and then same deal with home away against the All Blacks. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be kind of a middling draw, but. Yeah, Joe, as I mentioned, is kind of keeping the expectations relatively low. And as I said, this squad is young and it is lacking experience compared to the other 3 squads. So we will see how they go. The likes of Kalea has been a really kind of exciting one during the July test. I think Jeremy Williams in his 3 games has kind of stepped up pretty well. We know all about what the likes of Rob Valentini can do. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for the Wallabies. You guys let us know your thoughts on how the Wallabies are going to go. We've already done videos on the other 3 squads. If you want to check them out, there'll be links and whatnot. More rugby content to come. Previews, reviews, squads, stats, all that jazz. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.